Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Like many of you out there, I was very much sad to see the entire erasure of the Snyderverse and all of that kind of stuff from the DC's future projects and plans out there. Obviously, I was a big Henry Cavill fan. I loved him as Superman, and I just one of the situations where I wanted to see much better quality stuff going forward inside of the DC universe. Obviously, those things are all gone away now because, well, Warner Brothers is broke and they can't afford the likes of Henry Cavill, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, or any of the rest of the people that they would love to bring back for those kind of movies going forward. So we are getting a reboot of the entire universe. Things are starting out from scratch. And the latest project that has been officially announced out there is none other than a Robins movie featuring two of the most iconic Robins out there in history. And I think this could be something that would end up being very interesting. And because it's coming from one of their animation studios out there as well, their animation has done a lot of really good things in the past out there, and they're doing something new. They're using a new studio out there. They're doing with some crazy new technology. And honestly, if they end up doing this right, I think we can give us a very high quality Robins movie out there. And honestly, I'm cautiously optimistic as this is a big situation going forward. And with DC, I am a DC fanboy, no doubt about that whatsoever. Batman has always been one of my favorite heroes out there. Superman, all of that kind of stuff. It's just the kind of stuff I grew up on. It's what introduced me into the genre of superheroes out there. And I just simply cannot help myself to hopefully be at least slightly cautious or even cautiously optimistic that this could end up being good. And concerning some of the people behind this and some of the success they've had in the past, this might actually end up being a very good quality Robin story that we can all enjoy, and something that might even be slightly out there for the families as well. So we're going to check out this article from cosmicbook.news, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what the latest information we have on all of this is going forward. Before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Are you hashtag Snyderverse forever, or are you willing to give James Gunn's new DC reboot a chance because you love the characters so much? Let us know what you think about all of it in the comment section down below. All opinions are welcome as always, and of course, it helps out with the algorithm, so thank you very much for that. So from Matt McGloin over at cosmicbook.news, James Gunn, Matt Reeves moving forward with Robin animated family movie dynamic duo. And I mean, honestly, at a time right now, who could not ask for a little bit more of family quality content that we can show our kids? And honestly, the DC animated stuff has always been so good. Even when a lot of the live action stuff was faltering and floundering and we were having issues with it, the DC stuff animated stuff has always been solid. So hopefully they're sticking with some of those people out there as well. And what sounds like an answer to Sony's Marvel Spider-Verse, which I would love to see that thing get dominated into absolute oblivion by something like this. It's announced that a Robin animated movie is in the works titled Dynamic Duo from DC Studios, James Gunn and Matt Reeves. Obviously, Matt Reeves has had incredible success with the Batman movie. The Penguin Show has gotten nothing but rave reviews from a lot of the fans and audiences and absolutely crushing everything else there in the ratings right now as well. So hopefully this means good things going forward. The film, made with puppetry animation, follows the early days of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, aka the Robins. It's also said to depict how the friendship between Grayson and Todd as youths become tested by their diverging ideas for what their future should be. It's added reports that the characters will begin as a pair of thieves in the films are false. That will not happen. So they're not going to completely and totally rewrite their backstory. But obviously, as anybody knows what happened to Todd in the comics, and whether you liked that or not, or whether you hated it or not, it was at the end of the day something that is canonically did happen in the comics. So it looks like they're redoing this a little bit, which is something that we should expect at this point from James Gunn, who's using the comics as a heavy influence, but is not going for a one-for-one direct adaptation, which, trust me, is something as a DC fan I would absolutely love to see because it works out so well for manga and anime. But of course, for some reason, that idea doesn't permeate in the West because, well, we're all a bunch of freaking narcissistic psychopaths out here and we have to do everything our own way and rewrite it our own image. Fortunately enough, I think we might actually get some good stuff out of this. Reeves is producing through his Sixth and Idaho production company. Dynamic Duo will not be connected to his Batman universe, which also includes the new hit series starring Carol Farrell, the Penguin. And that's one of those other things, too, is we kind of expected that because one of the things that James Gunn and Peter Safran had announced initially when all this was happening was that everything that gets produced in the animated stuff and as well as the live action and the video games, he wants it all to be the similar characters going across the entire board. As to whether or not this actually falls under that, it sure seems like it, but we'll have to wait and see how all of that ends up getting worked out very later on down the road. So the details include Matthew Aldrich is writing the script, who is also known for Lightyear, and Coco, Those exactly didn't do so very well at the box office now, did they, boys and girls? And I don't think Coco was even released in the theaters. Either way, Lightyear, so we'll have to see what happens. But you know what? He might be an incredible writer, and he was just bogged down by all of the diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense that was required over there at Disney. So it could end up still being good. The animation is coming from a new animation studio out of New Orleans named Swaybox, run by husband and wife creators Arthur Mintz and Teresa Anderson. Now, this is one of the cool things, too, I liked about this. I've always been an advocate for the decentralization of Hollywood. I think that's going to give us a much higher quality of content going out there forward, and it looks like DC is indeed going in this direction over there at Warner Brothers because, hey, guess what? They're broke, and these people are something new. They're something fresh. They need to really get a hit out there, and this would be a great way to get something like this done. So Arthur Mintz will be directing, who worked in the storyboard department on James and the Giant Peach. Great movie, absolute classic, and was a contributing writer on Netflix's Lost Ollie, an animated movie featuring a blend of CGI and stop-motion animation that won multiple Emmys. Haven't seen it? Maybe I should check it out. Lost Ollie? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section down below. Was it good? Was it not? I don't know. Let me know. Is this a good sign for what's going forward? So per Deadline, Swaybox uses technology known as Momo animation, which is a cross between CGI animation, practical elements of stop motion, and live-action real-time performances. The result is long-form storytelling billed as visually breathtaking, dynamically expressive, and more human. I've wanted to make a film with Arthur and Swaybox for many years, says of course Matt Reeves. For that film to be dynamic duo, an incredibly special and unique Batman and Robin story for families is a dream. Well, let's hope it's also good as well. Gunn said via Instagram, over the moon excited to announce the newest DC Studios Warner Brothers Pictures animation greenlit for the theaters. Dynamic duo, the story of Robin, or should I say Robins, as in Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the first feature film from the visionary Swaybox in a mix of animation, puppetry, and CGI. And see, that's the thing. This is their first feature film, so I'd imagine they plan on releasing this in theaters since everything else has gone to streaming. And of course, I would love to see DC actually crush Sony's absolute abomination with their nonsense of their race swap Spider-Man. Hashtag Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is Miles Morales, boys and girls. And trust me, all the creators behind that completely and totally disrespected and talked down to the fans. I don't care if you like the movie or not. I'm not supporting somebody like that who wants to disrespect the fans, the lore, and the audience out there. It's just not going to go over very well with me in any way, shape, or form. So the first feature film from visionary Swaybox commissioned animation, puppetry, and CGI. A script from the wonderfully talented Matt Eldrick, produced with our partners at Matt Reeves' 6th and Idaho. This is something special. We are so excited for this, added Swaybox Studios on Instagram. DC Studios' James Gunn and Peter Safran, Swaybox Studios' Anderson 6th and Idaho Reeves are producers on Dynamic Duo. Executive producers include longtime Batman producer Michael Ulson. The news of Dynamic Duo animated movie also follows the news that DC is moving forward with the live-action Batman Villains movies, which will feature Bane and Deathstroke. And I think a little bit that's just kind of rumor as well. I don't think that's officially fully announced. It came out in some of the trade magazines and stuff like that. But this is actual confirmation. This is actual confirmation from James Gunn. And I've always loved the Robins. Obviously, everybody loves Nightwing and all of that kind of stuff, and even Todd. They had a lot of their fans, boys, and out there, and all of that kind of stuff. And I'd love to see this done properly and well. I would love to see some great stuff come out of DC. I want them to succeed. I want them to turn the corner. They want to get away from all of this diversity, inclusion, and equity nonsense that we have seen permeate and completely and totally destroy the comic book industry when it comes to DC and Marvel as well. And I want to see DC succeed. I want to be a happy fanboy of all things DC and give us good quality content. I would much rather praise these movies coming out of this stuff that continually have to roast and destroy you and tear you down because you decided to go with an agenda, ignore your lore, and ignore and disrespect your fans. Keep up the work. Do what your fans and audiences want. Give us good quality stories that respect the lore and respect the core essence of every one of these characters out there. We need to know about the content of their character and what they bring to the table, not necessarily about all of this other immutable characteristic nonsense that it seems like majority of Hollywood has gone down. So James Gunn, you've got your chance. You've got a fresh face. You've got a fresh start. The real question is, can you stick the landing? Because at the end of the day, if you make the fans happy, we'll make you rich. You disrespect us and decide to talk down to us, we will watch you go woke, go broke, just like so many other industries and systems and franchises out there we have seen happen to over the past decade. Be smart. Make the fans happy, because this DC fanboy would be much happier talking about the success of how well your stuff does than continually roast you and criticize you for making the wrong decisions and failing miserably. At the end of the day, James Gunn, you will get exactly what you deserve.